tonight. If you were discussing the biggest events to ever happen in Buffalo, you could make an argument for one that occurred just over 120 years ago. We're talking about the 1901 Pan American Exposition. It is the subject of the newest exhibit at the Buffalo Museum of History, and we went for a tour earlier today to give you an idea of what you can expect to see and to learn if you go.
The eyes of the world are on Buffalo. 8 million people come here.
Far more than you'd get for an eclipse, to be certain, although this event ran for 6 months in 1901. And you can learn all about it inside what was once the New York State Building, the only one of many ornate-looking structures that was built to be permanent. The rest were stick-framed and covered in plaster, almost like a movie set.
And that's how you end up getting these beautiful Spanish Renaissance buildings and, Italianate buildings, these designs where it looked like if you made them out of marble, they would have taken millions and millions of dollars and years to make.
It's how they were able to construct 90 of these gaudy-looking structures over 350 acres in just a year and a half, and on the cheap. Photographs make it appear they were white, but only because we didn't have color film. In fact, most of them were painted a pale taupe, pinkish almost, with bursts of color gracing the ornamentation, which itself was precast. And it was a different time, to be sure, as visitors were treated to displays, the likes of which would not pass muster today.
On the midway, there was the old plantation exhibit, which kind of celebrated the antebellum South in a way that we would not do today.
Same with the Darkest Africa exhibit.
They brought over, villagers from Africa and paid them really low wages to kind of reinforce these stereotypes against black people.
In common with many events of its type, it lost a lot of money.
It loses about $2 million, so extrapolate that for, inflation.
And we're looking at about $65 million today.
But, it was a huge economic stimulus to the city. There were hotels and boarding houses that were seeing, absurd amounts of people come in and rent rooms, and certainly to local businesses, it was huge.
And like other World's Fairs, the focus was on the marvels of modernity. In our case, it was electricity generated in Niagara Falls and used to bathe the whole thing in spectacular light, belying its darkest chapter, which set it apart as well: the assassination of President William McKinley when he visited in September of 1901, increasing the Pan American Exposition's footnote in history.
McKinley being assassinated at the Exposition definitely added that, substantial bit of history to it.
And by the way, this is one of the museum's exhibits which come with a pay-what-you-wish admission.